evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our podcast, Beneath Your Skin. This is Gaia, a step closer to madness, but very happy we found this rare jewel among movies about demonic possession. It was so fucking good. So, people, if you didn't watch it, go find it and watch it because it's worth the time and it's worth your attention. It's a bit, I found it a bit hard to follow because people were talking with voices not very loud. So sometimes I was missing words and I had to go back to make sure I understood what was going on. But really, it's worth it. So go and watch it and then come back and listen to us talking about this amazing movie called Welcome to Mercy.
The film is great. Definitely. If you haven't watched it yet, go and watch it. I always get a little bit nervous when like a horror film comes out as a Netflix like exclusive and I'm like, "No, this is good. I really like it." I was so surprised. It was just like such an original take on it. And I agree with you, sometimes there's a lot of whispering and then they keep switching between the languages and I'm like, "Okay, who am I meant to be listening to?" And there's something whispering to her. Am I meant to hear what's being whispered to her? I'm like, but you kind of have that like weird confusion of like you just want to know what's going on, but when it all comes together, like all like anything that you thought was like a plot hole or unexplained, there's a reason for it all, and it ties it up so well. It's crafted so masterfully, filmed beautifully. I've got to admit, it's got some amazing scoring. Like it's just got these pieces of music that are just filled with the emotion of the characters, and even when they're sounding like slightly like holy and like worship-esque like music you'd find in a church, they also kind of use like slightly out of place, or like when a character's in like all this fear, and the scenes whenever you see any of the scenes when they're going through the water or through the well and the slow falling of characters, it's just like wow, for just a random film that just appeared on Netflix that I think a lot of people are going to overlook because Netflix horror, whoo, there have been some bad eggs in this Netflix. Like, I keep watching them going, oh, why did I watch that? This one's a real, like, this is a jewel amongst them. This is a great film. Really strong performances, beautiful scoring, well paced. Like, I didn't find it slow or boring. I found that there was, like, gentle scenes with not much going on, but that's to give you that false sense of like there's nothing going on. So when something happens, it's such a like shock to the system and it jolts you, and then you're kind of lulled back into this false sense of reality, and then you're ripped away from it so quickly, and it's like, wow, this is a well-made movie. I loved it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And during the whole movie, you have this sense of doom. You know something is very wrong, and you are falling. During the whole movie, you are falling like the main character fell. Well done and great is that you don't know where the falling is going to take you, and you keep falling and falling and falling, and you never see the end of the well. And it's great. The jumping moments were very well done. Sometimes I scream during the movie, and I never scream during movies. So yes, damn it, it's a very well done movie. It's absolutely, you have to watch it. You have to enjoy it, because really this is a movie that horror lovers are going to love. It's so good, and it's nothing like an American horror movie. It was shooted in Latvia, and it gives you a different point of view from every movie that we watched, when the male characters are usually fundamental for the exorcism. This time, for a very long time in the movie, we are going to believe that the exorcism will be performed by the nuns. And we know the nuns have a very different approach to exorcism than priest. And really, the scene in the convent, they are so well done. All the characters there makes perfect sense. When she arrives, she knows that many of those women on the island hate her. She doesn't understand why. There is one nun in particular, not a nun, probably a novice, but this character particularly hate her, and you don't understand why until the moment you realize she's not there. She was never in that convent. She is still trapped into her own house, tied to the bed because she is being possessed. But to understand why it's happening to her, she has to go back into her past, a past that she doesn't even know about because it's a past that happens long before she was born. So the nice priest who tries to help her and the novice who tries to send her away because she doesn't belong there, those are her father and mother. She's trying to save her, sending her back to her reality, to her present, because something happened in the on the island. The mother and the father were really there. They were a priest and a novice, and they fell in love. But because they committed such a great sin, they were doomed and punished in the worst possible way. So during their first time together, one demon possessed him and he tried to kill her while they were still making love. She got pregnant, but they never were together again. And above all, that's the twist that was amazing. They shared the demon so that both of them can have time with their daughter. And that's so heartbreaking because you can see they love each other. When one of them is free and the other is possessed, the one free looks at the possessed one with so much love, and they never regret what happens to them. The only thing they regret is that at some point, this demon takes the child because she is the one the demon really wants. And that's when they decide to send her away. So at the beginning of the movie, the mother who sees her after years, she's not happy at all to see her coming back home. And she takes her own daughter to meet the family. And the daughter is the same age she was when she was possessed and sent away to protect her. So, but we don't know this. At the beginning, we think the mother is just this cold and distant person who is somehow keeping her husband locked in a room because he is sick. But is he really sick or is she crazy? No, she knows what's going on. She spent her whole life caring for him when he's possessed or being possessed by the demon that's inside him now. So it's so beautiful. It's so well done. It's not just pure horror. It's something mental. It hits you on a psychological level, and the love that this family still share, a love so great that it will end up in a sacrifice. It's so well expressed on screen that really you want to watch it and again. It's worth it. Believe me, it's worth it.
It is, yeah, it's a very powerful movie. It's very well crafted. Like, even the synopsis didn't really give away what was going on. The synopsis was like, is it an evil from her past is coming back to haunt her? And I was like, oh, yeah, it's totally a demonic possession film. Like, that's what the advertising looks. Then you start watching it and you're like, this is a family drama. This is, oh, it's going to be like there's maybe a madness and like why is the father locked up, and it's kind of playing out awkwardly, and then that bit when she falls into the well at the very, but she doesn't fall into the well, she just kind of folds into it. It's so sudden. Then she wakes up. Then there's the sudden like, and it's the way they mount the camera on her, so that really unnatural movement of the camera because it's a mounted steady cam looking at her. Like, it's really good. And then you're just like, Jigga, what is going on? Like, what just happened? And then it goes into the whole thing about her being like a stigmatic. And I was like, oh, it's not about demonic possession at all. This is a film about a woman showing the signs of the stigmatism, the stigmata, being sent to this convent to understand. And I was like, okay, so my analysy brain started analysing it, going, it's a metaphor for being possessed by your demons, but not an actual demon, like the demons of your past and whatever traumatic event happened to you. And then you see really like weird flashes of scenes of like her screaming on a bed and the man in front of her. And it's like, oh my goodness, maybe it was that like she was molested as a child by her father, and like maybe the mother was abusive, and like, you know, and it was social services that took her away that night. So you start thinking about, okay, she's got all these demons, and people are saying that she's unclean, and then some people are going like, oh no, you've got a gift, and you're like, okay, no, she's got to get over like her own personal demons, and then she can get away from this madness and this psychosis. But then the nuns all start acting really weird, like they look up and staring, and then there was the tapping. And I was like, oh, no, I think there's something with the nuns. I think there's something more. I think they might be an evil cult. That's why they can't go in the bell tower. That's why there's a weird symbol with the key. It's something to do with an evil cult. And it was so clever because it sows these little seeds. Like, her daughter, Willow, is like tapping on the teacup, and the mum keeps saying, stop, I don't like that sound. Then when she's at Mercy, and the nun is like tapping the ring, I'm like, oh, that's that tapping noise she doesn't like. Maybe she's been hypnotised. Oh, no, she's hypnotised the other nuns, and when she taps, they're all going to turn on her. And I was like, oh, layers and layers of these interesting dialogues and ideas. And I was just like trying to run with all of them. And the only one that I thought was like, at least that British girl's there. That British girl does seem to be her friend. And I was like, Jesus Christ, of all the ones for me to, like, no, I did not see the signs at all. And it keeps crafting all these interesting things that are very feasible. Then she starts showing the signs of the stigmata again. And you see that scene when she's covered in blood and all the nuns and the novices and the sisters are all going, whoa, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, ooh, are they performing an exorcism? Are they ushering in something? Is she just literally really poorly? Or is she actually having the signs of Jesus and they're all just literally obsessed with worshipping her and desperately trying to touch her, like the scenes in Mother when the people are desperately trying to touch, like, God? And it's just like, oh, okay. Oh, no. But then she's hearing voices whispering to her, and she's hearing her daughter call for it. And so clever because you start putting it all together, and when that final twist happens, the fact that it's all in her mind and she's trapped there, you're like, well, that's why she can hear things. That's why she keeps flashing between like different locations and stuff. That, and also, this is where it starts reminding me of The Exorcist, and particularly the Exorcist TV show, in which a demon has created an alternate reality for her and is trying to basically get her to say yes and be a willing host for a demon. And you just think, like, you never expect it to be the girl that's being friendly to her until she starts getting a little weirder towards the end. And I'm like, is she going to kiss her? Is she wrapped up? And just all the little pieces, like the kitten. The kitten was so cute. Cute little fluffy baby. But then when, the demon reveals itself and it's like, I am the only one that can save you. And you're like, this is a crafted world, and the demon is crafting a false story to get her to surrender her body to it. And she's hearing people that love her are calling to her. And I love the way that when the demon is like holding her up, that's when in the real world that her body's being lifted up. And it's like, that is such a clever idea. I just love the idea that, like demonic force would craft a fallacy to try and trick you into willingly giving up your body. Because that's what a demon would want to do. If it gets a willing host, then it's happy days. It's a willing host rather than like fighting and like struggling. And it's just so good. And then you just like, you go into like the exorcism, and it's not an easy exorcism, and they can't like do it because it's more than just a demon. It's a curse that was put upon these two people for the sin of falling in love and having sex out of wedlock when they had already made a vow that they would not use their bodies like that. So, and they still feel guilty for what they did. So they're kind of allowing this punishment to continue. But the one person they don't want to be punished by all this is this beautiful child that they've brought into the world. And it's just like, oh, this is so beautiful. And obviously the mum makes a sacrifice and the daughter learns how much her parents loved her and this new appreciation for them. But so cleverly crafted, so like you really want to watch it again to try and pinpoint the moment when the alternate reality like clicked in and stuff, because it's just like, and all the little things that hints to that it being a false world. And yeah, amazing. Even like things like, oh, the key is in the well, and you think it's like a metaphor for like the answers are in the well. So no, there's a physical key in the well, and it isn't, but it's just all fake, because what happened is when they were trying to perform an exorcism on the daughter in the first place back in the past, they blessed something like the cross. They dropped it in the well, so the well was filled with holy water. And that's why they threw her in there, so that she'd be so drenched in holy water that they could, like, save her soul and then send her away before the demon could take her over. But even then, the demon plays on that, saying the answers are in the well. Look, your parents tried to kill you when you were a child. And she's like, oh my God, they did. And it's like, oh no, they tried to save you with the holy well. And it's like, oh, so clever.
And the beginning, the first scene when we see someone carrying her away, and we think that's the moment she was being saved and taken away. No, that's the moment she was taken to the well. And we don't find it out until the moment we see the whole scene, and we understand that the father, who was a priest, was the one who threw her in the well to save her. Because, as you said, Zoe, the well was full of holy water, and there is no way a demon could survive that kind of amount of holy water. So he was forced to let her go when she was a child. And I like the figure of Father Joseph. He was with them since the beginning. He was their friend. He was there when they fell in love. He witnessed the moment they fell in love. He knows it's a sin. He should do something, but his friendship comes first. So he tries to help them time after time, but in the end, he knows there is nothing he can do for the child, because when a demon possesses a child, the possession is stronger. She was saved because the father thought about throwing her in the well, but Father Joseph knows that they can't keep going on like this. So he takes the child. At the end, he is the one who takes her away, while his friends stay behind and keep sharing the demon. What's very clever, for me at least, is that the end is not clear, so everyone can give an explanation, a personal explanation. For example, for me, the reason why he has the keys marked on his arm and she sees it when they travel away is that the demon is finally free, because he wasn't into the mother anymore. He left her body, but he didn't end up inside the mother, because the mother's sacrifice means that now only one is burdened with carry him around. So he's finally free from his enslavement, and he will probably prey on Willow.
Yes, most definitely. It's one of those films that, this is ripe for a sequel, and it should be called Return to Mercy. So that's what I want, the sequel, Return to Mercy. Yeah, that ending, that last twist, it's like you've kind of got to go with two choices. That she's still stuck in a delusion, and so she is still fighting this possession, which is very plausible, because the demon could have cut tracks, realizing that she was coming out of her delusion, so switched to a different world to try. So it's like false start again. Or the demon is now in the father fully. That's why the father can walk around a bit better and can communicate now. And it's like, right, it's got rid of one person, and the father is like, yes, I'm going after Willow next. Oh, it's so
Yeah.
clever.
Yeah, it was so good. It was amazing watching it, and really, it's a rare gem in a sea of bad movies or so and so movies. So, if you love horror, if you love demonic possession, you want to watch this movie. So, people, what are you waiting for? Go and watch it without fear. You are going to watch a good movie this time.
Very much so. Although, if you've got to this point, you've had all the spoilers. So I'm hoping that you stopped at the beginning, watched the movie, and then are now listening to this so that you can come and. We want to know your ideas. What does the ending mean? That'll be great to know. Like, oh, and what do we want if they made a sequel to this? I mean, a lot of the times you don't want sequels, but I think there's more story to tell here. They could take the setting somewhere else. They can go after Willow. Like, I mean, yeah. I mean, I want to know if that convent of like of Mercy still even exists. Like, oh, it would be interesting. It would be interesting to go back and find out what it's like now and find out that it's like abandoned, but it's like, evil returns to evil. So the only way to exercise like Willow is to take her back and perform it there, and then trap the demon there, and then they can leave the demon trapped on that island to be like, I'm trapped on an island and there's now nobody here. Oh,
I
this should have been what the third series of The Exorcist should have done. Like, because it just
I
reminds me of series two.
Oh yeah, that's true. And I would love to see the father going back to Mercy, where
Yeah,
he sinned for the first time, when he fell in love, betraying God himself for the love of the woman he wanted to marry. And I would like to see him trying to fight this demon, trying to keep the demon from hurting Willow, because now that his wife is dead, Willow is the innocence that they tried to protect in their own daughter. So I would love to see this weak and frail man trying to protect his family like he always tried to do.
yeah,
And I would love to see Father Joseph going back and trying to help his friend, because I have a feeling that Father Joseph is feeling guilty of never finding a way to really help his friends. And perhaps deep inside, he still thinks that what they did was wrong. So I would like to see Father Joseph struggling with his own moral code to understand if what they did was really a sin, if love can be a sin. So I
yeah.
would love to see this in a sequel.
Definitely, it's got so much more to explore, and it's just so clever and beautifully filmed. I just love those bits of falling through the well and that sense, the reason for all the drowning, and it's just like, this movie's so clever. Like, just using her fears of water against her because of her fall in the well that saved her, but the demon's setting it all on an island, so it's surrounded by water, so she can't escape the setting. It's just like, it was just so well crafted, very well crafted.
Absolutely. So as I said, people go watch the movie. You won't regret it. So if Zoe doesn't have anything else to say, I think it's time to thank you all for listening and remind you that if you want to join us or ask questions, we have a Facebook page. You can look for Beneath Your Skin. We have a Twitter account, Beneath Your Skin 2020. You can find us on Spotify, and we have a Twitter account at beneath underscore your. So if you want to message us, let us know what you think. We will be happy to answer and try to have a not too crazy conversation with you people. So thank you for listening, and bye bye.
Always a pleasure to talk to you, Gaia. Always a pleasure for our fans to talk to you. I'm so glad we found a good movie to review. This made me so happy. I want to go and look at this director's other work now. Yeah, pleasure as always. Loved it, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, byes.